Tina sizwe, esimnyama, sikalela izwe lethu, elathathwa ngabamhlophe. Sikalela izwe lethu, mabawuyeke umhlaba wethu. Thokozani bakwantu, Thokozani Royals Hotep ninjani. Awu mabawuyeke umhlaba wethu, sikalela izwe lethu, elathathwa abamhlophe. How's everyone doing? Thokozani Royals, welcome. Please don't look at my messy hair. Leave my hair out of the discussion. My hair's a mess, guys. I need somebody to assist me with my hairs. Please, somebody help me. So, there's a story behind these locks I will share one day in a story time, but being an ancestral child is a mess sometimes. Thokozani, please tap the screen. Let's get up in the algorithm. See, you got things sticking out. I look like Alf. Who remembers Alf? There used to be a show, a cartoon, way back then. You guys may not remember. Some of you weren't even born. Thokozani. I love leaving my hair alone too, and nobody's allowed to go into my hair. There are very few people who can touch my hair, which is why I've ended up with this mess. I can't just go to any hairdresser to do my hair, unfortunately. So it means that I have to allow it to free flow. It grows wild, like a wild forest. And then when I really get tired of it is when I when I wear my wigs, because sometimes I just cannot. No, I didn't call them dreadlocks. I never call them dreadlocks. I said I'll share the story of locks. There's nothing to dread here. Absolutely nothing to dread. Thokozani, but everything to celebrate. You know, these are my antenna. These are my antenna to the cosmos. See? And there's like this. Maybe I should just leave them sticking up like this. I might get some downloads while I'm talking to you guys. Ninja. Hope everybody is doing well. Today is the first day of our fast. If you're in South Africa, I see you people don't sleep. So you're already on day 2. How's the fast treating you guys? How's everybody been doing with the fast? On my end, so far so good. Like I said, I don't starve myself when I'm fasting. I will eat as soon as I feel peckish, but I just make sure that I'm eating the right things. So no hunger on this side. No hunger. This is not about suffering through it. We don't suffer in this. Life's hard enough. We have enough challenges. We're just about detoxing and getting our bodies healthy and aligned and functioning optimally. Thokozani. So today, family, I was sitting here wondering, what perhaps I could teach, and I didn't get knocked upside the head for anything, but I thought I would introduce the season of Geb. The season of Geb, umhlaba. Big key factor with the Black nation is the land. And so we enter the season of Geb, which is the 6th season of our African calendar year, right? And so that season comes in on February the 23rd. So it runs from February the 23rd all the way till March the 22nd, and then March the 23rd, we enter the season of our Set, the season of Great Mother. So the season of Geb, who is Geb? Geb is actually one of what they call the Ennead, meaning that if you look at the Kemetic tree of life, you will notice that there is Geb, and then there is Shu and Tefnut. What is Shu? Shu represents the air. Tefnut represents moisture. Then according to Kemetic cosmology, Shu and Tefnut mated and they produced Geb and they produced Nut, N-U-T. Nut is the sky. I think I've talked about Nut in the season of Nut. That is the sky, the pitch black sky with all the stars in it. And actually, she has a beautiful formation. If you look up at the night sky when there are no clouds, you literally can see this curve. It's almost like a curved body. And so it is this sort of stars or constellation that is hovering, if you like, or above who we call Geb, which is the earth. And in Kemetic cosmology, the earth, Geb, is masculine. And I will explain where the whole Mother Earth comes into this, because it isn't wrong either to call the earth Mother. And I will explain where that comes in. So in terms of Kemetic cosmology, Geb is the earth. The physical earth is Geb. And it is said that Shu, who is air, had to separate Nut and Geb because they are considered consorts. So Nut is the divine feminine energy and Geb is the masculine. And they had to be separated so that life on earth could produce. As long as the earth and the sky were collapsed, well, there was nothing that could be produced. So they had to be separated by Shu, who is air. And Tefnut, of course, we know anything to do with water, moisture, which is Tefnut, right? She is moisture. So I hope I've explained it properly. So Shu and Tefnut came together to produce Nut and Geb. Nut and Geb had to be separated, and Father Shu came to separate them so that we have the sky and then we have the earth, so that life on the planet could resume, right? If you would like to get the full beautiful story, if you go on my YouTube, there is the creation story. I tell the entire story from beginning, from place of origin even. We place all these activities, this early, what I would call evolution of life on the planet. There is a geographical location to it. Please, I will put this particular video on YouTube and I will place the link for the creation story in the bio, because I think it will help place you guys in this whole thing once you understand, because I know a lot of you are new to ancient Kemetic knowledge. So some of you are catching me in the middle of, well, some of you are catching me in the middle of the year. Basically, we're in season 6, right? So you may not even understand where it all comes together. So if you go and watch the creation story on YouTube, it's Gogo Nkanyezi Speaks, right? So African spirituality with a K dash Gogo Nkanyezi Speaks. Please, guys, don't forget to like and to subscribe and to comment and to share. And if you feel inspired and you feel the love, you can press the super thanks button and say thank you. I don't have any membership yet because I really don't see the necessity of that. I'm not out there trying to milk everybody or make money. But please go and take a look at that. This will place this whole thing into context, right? So let's talk about the season of Geb. Right? The season of Geb. I'm not going to tell you everything, because if you don't have your calendar booked, well, to you. I don't know why you don't have it. But what I will do is I will teach you some things about how you can align with this energy during this season. So where are the things that align us to Geb? So, right. The stone is amber. Guys, I've got a beautiful amber necklace, but I can't wear I'm going to wear it when the season actually comes in. This is just me doing before. I've got this gorgeous, gorgeous amber pendant. So, amber is the stone. The color is brown for earth. That is the color. The metal is bronze. Bronze. I have a brass. I don't have a bronze. I was gonna say I have a bronze ankh, but I don't. It's brass. So the color is bronze, or the metal rather is bronze. The incense is an incense called patchouli. Patchouli, right? The perfume or the scent is olive. The tree is the Persea tree, Persea. The animals are the goose, the duck, the mongoose, and the gecko or the lizard. Those are the animals that represent the season of Geb. So those are the things that will align you. So color brown is definitely in. We actually have a special edition t-shirt coming out that says land back. That'll be up very soon on the GK website. I'm hoping to get mine so I can rock it for you guys. Yeah, and why do these things matter when I say they align us? Well, basically, when you wear brown during this particular season, you align yourself with the energy of the earth. The energy of the earth is very powerful. There's also good, that's why we do a lot of grounding. To align ourselves, our electromagnetic frequency needs to be aligned with the electromagnetic frequency of earth in order for us to be healthy. So those are some things that you can do for yourself during the season of Geb. People who, I don't want to tell you everything about Geb, you guys, because you guys are going to, you're not going to get the book, which you need for your reference. So if you look at the little picture that I have, if you see it, Geb is actually a figure, a male figure, and he has a goose on his head. The goose is the animal that represents him. And when we teach further on, I'll explain to you the significance of these animals and why it's these particular animals that have been chosen to represent Geb. Where does Geb come into the whole cosmology? So because it's Earth, Geb is very much associated with agriculture. Geb is very much associated with fertility of the land. And this is the part I wanted to explain, and I think I'll focus the rest of my teaching on that so that we can make it very clear why the distinction of calling the earth Mother Earth and yet in Kemet, Geb is masculine. Let's put it this way. It is known that anything that you plant a seed into is feminine, right? Therefore, we know that we plant seeds into the womb, and yeah, you know the seeds we plant into the womb most. Do I need to elaborate? No, you all know those seeds that get planted in the womb, in the uterus. That seed fertilizes and it causes the growth. And this growth and maturation of what grows in the womb happens in what kind of a space? It happens in darkness, right? When we're talking about the earth or the soil, that is where we talk about the feminine energy of earth. We talk about the earth being feminine because we plant seed into the earth. The seed has to be covered, and that creates darkness. And it is in that darkness, that mystical darkness, that the seed will then go through certain processes and germinate. And then what you see manifest is a product of the seed having been planted in the soil. That is where we speak of Mother Earth as being productive and creative, right? The same as us. We are creative and productive because of this womb space. So the earth, the soil, can be likened to the womb space because it is moist, just like the womb space. Whatever grows in the womb space grows in moisture, in the amniotic fluid. Whatever grows in the soil, we don't just put seed in the soil and walk away and be done. The soil has to be moist. Either we're going to water it, or the soil was already moist enough to allow the seed to germinate and to allow the sprout to come up, right? So those are the analogies, the earth being synonymous with the womb space, because the characteristics of the earth are similar to the characteristics of the womb space, right? So I hope that has clarified that. Incidentally, while we're speaking of earth and the creativity and productivity of earth, did you guys know that in ancient Africa, mining was done by women? For the same reason that even now in many rural areas, farming is done by women, is because it was considered grape for men to dig into the earth. It was considered grape for men to dig and go into the earth. Therefore, by the way, my grandmother, my father's mother, who is my gift giver, she was a crow miner in a small mine called Collenborn in Zimbabwe. Just see, it all checks. My grandmother was a miner. She had a lot of money. She used to give her daughter-in-law, who's my mom, a lot of money. She always came with money sort of tied in a handkerchief. You know how they do. They tie it in a handkerchief by the petticoat so that no one steals their money on the bus. And she always had money for my mom. It was the sweetest thing ever. Best mother-in-law ever. But I'm just trying to show you, my grandmother was a miner. And that is why so much has gone wrong. Because since the greedy ones came and they don't know. By the way, they like to come and talk as if they're the ones who brought mining to us. That's nonsense. Our ancestors were mining gold, were mining iron ore and smelting iron ore and removing iron ore. They were mining diamonds way before these creatures were even conceived of. That is why you know that Tutankhamun's shoes, there's a pair of gold sandals that they've taken, of course, and put in their museums. Pure gold. So our ancestors were doing a lot of the things that these ones came and appropriated and plagiarized and taught and lied and said was theirs. So I want you to understand that many people have a misconception when they go to rural Africa and they find that women are out in the fields and they are plowing and they're doing this and that. Be careful, because again, ignorance will tell you that, oh my God, these poor women, they are oppressed and they are enslaved. No, there's an understanding that the fields belonged to the women because men were not allowed to go digging in there because it was considered grape. And actually, even in some places, men now farm. But those who know will first ask the women of the family to come and speak and do a certain ritual to ask for permission to allow the men to assist them on the field. Does that make sense? Most times the men come to assist when it comes to harvest time and when it comes to weeding, right? We know that there's a process of planting, right? Putting the seed in, which requires digging. The women did that. The men came on the back when it was time to weed and remove the weeds around the crops, and then at harvest time, because you're not digging anything by that stage. This is how our ancient ancestors lived in harmony with nature, because living in harmony with nature meant they weren't violating any of these universal laws that govern the universe, which meant that they would get ample rain, which meant that they would have a rich harvest, which meant that all their livestock, the cattle, the goats, whatever, would be healthy, because any violation of these natural laws would usually result in disastrous effects on the whole community, meaning that a drought might ensue, and those crops that were put in the ground by the wrong gender wouldn't sprout, or the animals would start dying. So sometimes when that happened and there was no clear-cut answer as to what was going on, this is where they would go and consult oracles to find out, what is it that we've done wrong? What have we done to anger the earth? What have we done to anger the earth? Because there was always a knowledge that there's something that has gone on that shouldn't have gone on. And usually they would get told that somebody or somewhere there's been a violation. Somebody went onto the land and did certain things they weren't supposed to. And usually the people who went to consult the oracle is not just individuals. There would be the royals or emissaries of the king who were then sent to say, there's disaster upon the land. What is going on? Let us go and consult. Then the emissary of the king or the king would get told how to appease, how to make amends and to atone so that things would be brought back into balance and harmony. Like I've said to you guys, there is no problem. There is no problem in the spiritual realm that does not have a solution. And so once people realized that there'd been a violation, they went through the processes and rituals of making amends so that balance and order could be restored and harmony could be restored. Right? So when we talk about Bagwantu or the Black nation wanting land back, and this is a global thing, by the way, everywhere now, I've been looking at everywhere. Everywhere on this globe, we are the indigenous people. We melanated beings are the indigenous people. And everywhere in the world right now, the unifying cry amongst us is we want land back. Some people are even saying we don't care about reparations, we want restoration. Meaning we want it all back. We want the land. Because you took us off our land, and by taking us off our land, you literally cut us off our spiritual connection, because land and spirituality for the melanated being are very much associated. I've done videos where I've shared with you guys about how land is so important even now. People need to go back to the land, because not only is land symbolic, if you don't have land, you're nothing, because number one, you cannot feed yourself. You cannot feed yourself if you don't have land. You are constantly relying on others to feed you. And currently, who feeds us is an enemy. Therefore, we are very vulnerable to all the poisons and the toxins that they put in food deliberately. They've been doing it for years, but we ain't going anywhere. So I don't know why they keep trying, but we don't die. We multiply. So they've been trying. We're still here. Number two, land is very important because everyone needs to have an ancestral space. And the ancestral space in the traditional African context is a kraal for your cattle. This is where you phahla. You need space to build a proper homestead that has what we call indlu kagogo, or a shrine or a space where the family gathers to phahla. You need land because your ancestors should not be buried in cemeteries and nonsense like that. Your loved ones should be buried within the homestead, because we know that we create a community of us, the living, and who we call the living dead, or our ancestors. They were never put in a place far away from the home. Now you have to get into a car to travel to a different province to go and visit a grave with a little bunch of flowers and you clean the grave maybe once every 3 years, particularly because people move. And that's how we have so many graves that are not taken care of, because they are now buried in these cemeteries. Guys, that whole concept is just warped if you think about it. Imagine a whole sea of graves. It's like a farm of people, like and all sorts of people buried together. You don't know who's lying next to you. You have no idea who's lying. It's almost like that same concept of taking your old people and putting them in a nursing home. Something that is taboo for us melanated beings, particularly on the continent. Our elders lived within the family, and there was an understanding that all generations were valid and all generations were critical. So nobody was ever shipped off to some old people's home because they are now old and we need to put them away because they're an inconvenience. It was never like that. These elders' wisdom was so valued. Even just their presence when they went, sometimes they would go mute or they go deaf or they go blind. But just their presence within the family, and to have had them for so long, they were a treasure. But now what are people doing? They put them in nursing homes because they're too busy. We don't have time to take care of them. Guys, we need to go back to roots. We need to go back to the way things were. And that is what is going to make us heal collectively, is when we understand who we are, how things were, and understand that when things were the way they were, there was harmony and there was peace. When you have your own land and you can grow your own food, what need do you have to steal from someone else? What need do you have to steal? Unless you're lazy. But look, if you're living in a community, you all get the same rain, you all get the same sunshine, you all got seeds to plant. So if you don't utilize your land well, that's your business, not your neighbors. So stealing was taboo. People did not steal each other's livestock. They did not steal each other's crops. It just was not done. The crime and the stealing came when people were disenfranchised, removed off their lands, shipped off into cities, forced to work under terrible conditions, live under terrible conditions, much like concentration camps, and where money now became the big driver. Because without this money, you cannot eat. Without this money, you cannot have clothes. Without this money, you just cannot function. So they made us dependent on these pieces of paper that brother will kill brother for. People are out on the streets robbing people for this piece of paper. So us going back to roots, us learning to grow our own food is so that we can restore the dignity of the Black nation. Because you cannot call yourself a nation if you cannot feed yourself. You cannot. If you're waiting to be fed, especially by your enemy, how do you call yourself a nation? Kids were educated within that homestead, right? This is before they would take away kids. Now they're taking away kids from the home, younger and younger. Now 3 years old, they're expected to go to grade R. Is that grade R? Is it 5 years old? I don't know what it is. But the sooner they can take your kids away from you and put them in these indoctrination camps they call schools, the better for the system. So you don't even have time and space to input your cultural values and to teach your kids what may be your family customs and norms and traditions, because they're being taken away from you. They leave, most of them leave at 7 in the morning? And they come back at 3 in the afternoon? And they make sure that when they come home, you still don't have an opportunity to teach them anything because they've got tons and tons of homework that they need to do. In the traditional setting, children were brought up and taught within the homestead. And this is where the adults in the family, from mother to father to the grandparents, this is where they came in handy, were involved in the raising of these kids. In some places, extended family kind of lived all together anyway. So there were aunties and uncles and older cousins. And these kids were brought up with the input, the rich input from all of these family members. And they grew up knowing who they were. Many of us have suffered terrible identity crisis. When I started school in an all-white school. I think I was probably one of about 3 or 4 melanated kids in my class when I started first grade. And I was a child who grew up in the village. So come time to go to school, my parents, thought they were doing the best, moved me to the city. And now I lived with them instead of my grandparents in the village. And now here I was going to this Catholic school where we were told that the only person you kneel in front of is God. That you could not kneel in front of anyone else. That was called idolatry or something. Do you know what a crisis I had? Little old me at 7 years old, struggling, couldn't sleep at night because I knew that back in the village, we knelt before our elders. I knew that when my grandfather asked me for water, I would take water to him and I would kneel and I would give him. I laugh about it now, but 7-year-old me was traumatized by things like that. Suddenly, I'm in a space where I'm being taught a whole different set of things that didn't make sense to me, surrounded by people who didn't look or sound or smell like me. And I'm here like, what is going on? And then, to make it worse, during the school vacations, I would go back home to the village where I would have to live that life. And now in my head is, oh my gosh, now I need to kneel before my grandfather or my grandparents. What if that God of thunder and lightning smites me? And guys, man, I could tell you stories about the things we went through. But I think that some of us went through what we went through so that we could understand the deep woundedness and the deep psychological effect, negative effect or impact that colonization really had on us. Right? Because I had the fortune of living both worlds. I'm a very rural girl that way. I'm the one who was going with my aunties and my cousins to fetch firewood, to fetch water in a bucket and put it on top of your head. I wash clothes at the river. Like, I'm that girl. I know that life. And then I also know the life of the city. And I can, from experience, tell you how fragmenting it felt to have to try to exist in both these worlds that were worlds apart. Like there was literally nothing bringing these two worlds together for me in my small little mind. So this is what a lot of people don't understand when we talk about the importance of being raised within your own culture, the importance of being raised with your cultural value. I tell you what, when I used to go home after I started school and I would go back to the village, the sense of warmth I would feel, I remember I would hug my grandmother and I could smell the wood smoke on her clothes from the cooking fires. And I would just feel that sense of, like, the tension would leave my little body. Yes, I was a very stressed out child. The tension would leave my little body as I held onto my grandmother for dear life, because that was my safe space. And remember where I was coming from. I was coming from those with their stringy hair and their weird smells and their hair that we used to go swimming and it would turn green from the chlorine in the water. The fuck? Like, I was traumatized, guys. I was a traumatized little girl. I'm telling you. I laugh now, but it's just trauma. It was trauma. Things they did, I just didn't understand, And then, guys, it was a lot. But I just wanted to share. So you've got a little bit of story time. Now you know a little bit more about me. I just wanted to tell you that we're in the season of Geb. This is a time where for our collective manifestation, it's land back and nothing else. We want our land back. We need the land. We need the land because we need to restore sanity to this earth. And the only people who are going to be able to restore sanity is us. Them other creatures are too far gone. Their genetic makeup is destructive, and that's just that. And they don't like hearing it. Apparently, there's been a beef gone on between Elon Musk and one South African blogger who spells it like I do. And now apparently the Human Rights Commission has sent out some warning that, he should not be saying these kind of things because he's inciting genocide of white people. Guys, seriously? We're nothing like them. The thing is, they live in fear that the things they've done to us are the things that we are going to do to them. That is their existential fear. But we're nothing like them. We just want them to go away and leave us alone. Nobody wants their nasty blood on their hands. Do you? I don't. No. I'm not messing up my karma with we don't want that. We just want them to disappear. They are that. They are Neanderthals, and this is them. It's their science that says so. We didn't come up with this. Just go Google them. You'll see them there. Cheddar Man is there like this. Flan. So now because we're saying what you wrote, you'll get angry. Give us a break. Please. We just want to be left alone. And we want land back because you clearly don't know how to live on this planet because you weren't created for this planet. You are an aberration that was created to cause havoc. That was the intent from day one as you were being cooked up by Yakub in the lab. He said he wanted to create the most evil, most vile creature to punish us, the black brethren, because apparently as a kid, he'd been bullied because of his big head with the two brains. So then he teamed up with, I think is it Enki? Or one of the ones, I always forget those two. Because he was jealous because his brother had created us to have that divinity that we have. And said we could be better than them. And he was like, no, why are you creating creatures that could be better than us? So he teamed up with Yakub, who was hell-bent and intent on wreaking revenge for having been laughed at as a school kid with his big head. And they created those things. Like, why are you expecting the impossible? Just go and look at the genetic makeup. I've looked at the whole genome and I'm like, rat, cat, dog, horse, monkey. And then you expect what? Come on, guys. We have to be real. So, collective manifestation as we enter the season of Geb family, land back and nothing else. I can't wait to show you the t-shirt. It's really cool. In the meantime, yes, I'm sure I'll be back tomorrow on something. But I just thought, that is why that's why I said, even imagine 7-year-old me being thrown among them. And wet dog, wet cat, vinegary, there's like an acidic smell to the perspiration. And then some of you all date them. Some of you will date them. You guys have guts. You are strong, Shane. You're very strong. Ooh. Guys, I'm glad there's nobody here. They are not here to go block my video. I'm sure I would be blocked by now. Yeah. How do you sleep and close your eyes and sleep peacefully with something like that next to you? You guys are brave. Me, I would sleep like this. I'd sleep with one eye open because, wow. Yo, guys. And then that skin. Have you ever touched it? That chicken-like skin. It's like chicken. Ooh, you're brave. You are very brave. I must say, you're brave. I could never. I could never. Danger, danger, danger. And then, of course, after discovering that they like eating humans and that all the mummies in Kemet are almost gone because they were digging them up and eating the skin. I'd rather be by myself. I'd rather be alone. Because at least alone, I'm safe. I'm guaranteed safety if I'm alone. They eat us. There's a book called The Delectable Negro that talks about their culinary delights on us in the USA. And guys, it's a thick book like this that is accounts of them eating us. So this is not, guys, I'm not making this stuff up. You know, I don't come here to make stuff up, even though I laugh because it sounds ridiculous, but facts is facts. It's called The Delectable Negro. Delectable means the tasty. Very tasty. Can you imagine kissing somebody and they bite your tongue and they take it, because you are very delectable. You guys, you are brave. You are brave. That's all I can say. Please school your children. Can you school your children that it is taboo to do that, to go with, please, because I don't know what I would do if my kids brought home. Anyway, I'm doing constructive interference against that. Could never. I would be ritualing for my children every night. Like every night. I would never sleep because, wow. But anyway, guys, I hope I gave you a good laugh. I didn't mean to come here and be silly, but but yeah, be careful out there. Be careful out there because, hey, melanated beings, you're quite delectable. Be careful. Be careful with your delectability. Don't be caught in the wrong places and spaces with the wrong peoples. Don't say I didn't warn you. My books are backwards because it is aesthetically pleasing to my eyes that my books are backwards. Don't you think? It may not be aesthetically pleasing to you, but to me certainly is. So I like my library looking like this. And also, I guess even from a distance, you couldn't read the spines. But the other thing too is, over the years, you have visitors coming and they go through my library and they're like, oh my God, can I borrow this book? So when they're like this, you don't know what they are. So you stop borrowing my books and then I don't have to say no because I learned people borrow my books and they never return. And I have invested quite a lot in my library. So anyway, family, I think, am I from Ethiopia? No, I'm from the continent in general. But why Ethiopia? Don't tell me you're another one of these who's going to tell me I look Ethiopian. Because I have Fulani Nigerians who think, who say I must ask my mama who my papa be. Because they say I am Fulani. I tell them I no be Fulani, or they say you be Fulani. Ask your mama who your papa be. Then I have Igbo people who like, you be Igbo. Somebody actually gave me a name. My name is Chiamaka. Chiamaka. And then I have South Africans who also claim me. I have Zimbabweans who claim me. I have Emaswati who claim me. Like, I'm claimed. And I love it because that is who I represent. That's why whenever somebody says, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Africa. And where is Africa? Africa is everywhere throughout the whole world. Melanated beings are everywhere. So the world is my home, basically. I really am one of those who is living that unity. I refuse for anyone to box me into an ethnicity or a geographical location. I refuse. And I think my life speaks for that. My life experiences, I've lived in many places throughout my life. And somebody named Masichava. I love that. Masichava. Masichava is like who? She or he of the world, actually, right? Masichava mina. Ki Masichava. Kia utlwa. Kia dumela. See? I know every language, smolinyana. I teach myself as I go along because it's very important for me. I love us. I love us, man. You don't understand. I love us. So if you are us, know that I have deep love for you. It's simple. Masichava. I really love that. I embrace it. I love Masichava. Yo, ki Masichava. Inalisiriti. Did I say that right? It's got dignity. Masichava. Yo, I should get myself a big stroller like this that says Masichava. I love it. Some are joining me live. Oh, Masichava is mother of nations. I receive. And I say yes, and I affirm, and I validate, and it resonates with my higher self. Yebo. Kina Masichava. Hi, today I spoke Sesotho to you. I spoke Sesotho like this. Hi, Bo. I spoke Sesotho like this. Sipumapi lesi Sesotho, guys. Where did all this Sotho come from today? Must be hidden somewhere in my subconscious. I'm so proud of myself. Yo. I'm really proud. Anyway, family, I love you guys. And I will be back. I was very playful today. I think the Manono spirits are around. The baby spirits are probably over here tickling me. But it was great to be with you guys. And I'm going to put this up on YouTube for those who just came. You can go and watch. Guys, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment. It'll go up in the algorithm. And, you know, our family is growing over there on the YouTube. And see you soon. Somebody says, can't wait to see you. I'll be back. You know, I come back. I always come back. And somebody said I look young with my hair like this. Yeah, I look like a child. That's why, you know, I do try to do the adulting thing every once in a while, guys. But anyway, these are my little locks. Family, love you and leave you. Masithokozeni.